A very good morning to all. So let us start with our third session on heredity and evolution. So in our previous session we understood about terms and the definitions, various terms which are there in the chapter heredity. That is, we understood what is a gene, what is DNA, gene, allele, then what is dominant allele, recessive allele. Such many of the terminologies we studied from in our previous session. So there we understood that our body is made up of DNA, right? So what is DNA? DNA is the package of the hereditary material. So this is the helix form of a DNA. This is how the DNA actually looks, which is present in our body. So this has several segments. Now what are these segments? So gene. Now gene is a segment of DNA. That is what we studied. Then under gene, what comes? Allele. Those are complementary forms of gene. We understood this in our previous session. We all should know that DNA, that is nothing but hereditary material, is present in the chromosome of a cell. We all have studied about cell, what are the organelles or what are the parts present inside the cell, right? So DNA, this hereditary material, is present in chromosome of a cell. Now where is chromosome present inside the cell? Chromosome is present inside the nucleus. So nucleus is the main part or the main component of the cell, or which decides everything about the cell, or you can say it's the headquarter of the cell, right? So let us move further. So as we all know that Gregor John Mendel was called as father of genetics because he conducted several experiments to understand different traits or different characteristics of a living organism. He proposed the law of inheritance in living organism. We all know what is inheritance, and that is inherited. We understood the difference between inherited and acquired, right? So Mendel proposed the law of inheritance. He conducted several experiments on plant breeding and hybridization. In that, on his experiment, he selected one of the particular plant for his plant breeding and hybridization, that is garden pea, where we call that as Pisces sativum. Now what is garden pea? As we all know, in Hindi what we call that as a matar, and in Kannada what we call that as a batani. So that is nothing but a green pea. Now why did Mendel choose a green pea plant? There are the reason for that. Why only green pea? There are so many other plants. If he could have studied on the mango tree, he could have studied on a coconut tree or anything, rose plant, right, hibiscus. But why did he only choose the garden pea plant? Only because the garden pea plant has a very short lifespan. Now, what do you mean by a very short lifespan? That means in a 1 year, he can study up to 4 generations. Now 4 generation means, for example, if I sow a plant, that plant grows quickly, it bears fruits, flowers, and again I can with those fruits and flowers I can again cross pollinate them, regrow them again, right? Such things I can do in a year 4 times, right? For example, if you would have chosen a mango plant, you sow the sapling, it has to grow, it will take years together. Suppose if today I sow a plant, my grandchildren might enjoy the mangoes, right? So he chose a garden pea plant only because it has a very short lifespan. That is, he could study the characters of those such that in 4 generations, he could see in 1 year, he could study 4 generations, right? So very short lifespan, what we can say. It grows in all conditions. It grows in all conditions means it doesn't require a particular temperature. We all know that there are several crops which grows in Kharif season, Rabi season, Zaid crops. We all studied this in the crop production chapter in your lower classes. Seasonal crops, what we say. Or a particular crop requires a particular soil, right? But garden pea grows in all the conditions. It can grow in any available soil. So he chose this plant. Next, it provides or it produces large number of seeds. So hence it is providing a large number of seeds. He can study, he can again cross-pollinate them, easy for him to study. Then detectable contrasting traits. Yes, this is the main reason here. Detectable contrasting traits. Now detectable means he could see many contrasting traits. Now traits here again I talk about characteristics or alleles, right? Detectable contrasting alleles, I can say there are about 7 contrasting alleles in a garden pea plant, which is nothing but a Pisces sativa. Now what are these different alleles in a single pea plant only? He could study about the color of the pea. He could study about the color of the pod. He could study about the shape of the pod. He could study about the position of the flower, right? So such there are 7 contrasting characters which he could study in a single garden pea plant, right? So it gave him many many learning experiences in. That is why in a very short lifespan, he could study many contrasting characters in those many spans. For example, in a 1 year, he can see 4 generation of pea plants. He could study so many characters in them, characteristics in them. Next, self and cross pollination is very easy in a garden pea plant than in any other plants. So these are the main reasons why Mendel chose garden pea plant for his hybridization. Now, before we proceed what actually he did, let us first understand what are this or which are the 7 detectable contrasting alleles of a garden pea plant. So, these are the 7 pair of contrasting characters or traits what we call, what he observed in a garden pea plant. That is, basically what characters he observed? He observed the flower color, flower position, seed color, seed shape, pod color, height of the plant. So these 7 characters what we call, we could only or it was only possible in this plant. Now any other plant if he had chosen, he would have got it, but these many alleles or characteristics weren't possible in them. Or even if it was possible, hardly 1 or 2. And apart from that, other features what we saw about the lifespan, about how easily it will produce large number of seeds, allow cross and cross pollination. So these things were easily done with the garden pea plant. So when we talk about this, we also talk about a dominant trait and a recessive trait. Now for example, if I talk about a flower color, so every plant has to bear first a flower, then the fruit, right? So flower color can be violet and white. I mean violet or white. Now here he understood by his theories, by his several experiments that violet comes under dominant trait and white comes under recessive trait. That means to understand this in depth, so if we crossbreed 2 types of pea plants, if I get a violet, if I crossbreed violet and white color, violet is dominant. Now how did he understand violet is dominant or white is recessive? It is only by conducting several experiments. He came to a conclusion with the dominant trait and with the recessive trait. So which are dominant and which are recessive after several experiments after conducting that. So in flower color, it can be violet or white, where violet falls under dominant and white comes under recessive. Similarly, flower position. Now flower position can be axial or terminal. Now what do you mean by this? Now suppose if this is a flowering plant, okay, these are the 2 flowering plants. Under one flowering plant, it bears the flower here. Another flowering plant, it bears the flower here. What does this mean? Under axial condition, the flower is bearing to the side, and for the terminal condition, the flower is bearing at the end. Yes, this also matters. So, whenever the flower is in the axial condition, that means that has received a dominant trait. and this is a recessive. Axial is at the side. I'll just write side here. And terminal is at the end. Or terminal means at the end. Seed color can be yellow and green. Yellow is dominant, green is recessive. Seed shape, it can be round and wrinkled. Of course, it can be round or it can be wrinkled. Okay. Pod shape. Now, pod is the outer part. So, in a pea plant, we have an outer pod. Inside, we have seeds, right? So, pod shape can be inflated or it can be constricted. Well, inflated. That means here, whichever is a dominant trait, we always get that large in number than the recessive trait. You will understand this much clearly when we proceed this chapter further. Pod color can be green or yellow. And height of the plant can be tall or dwarf. Dwarf, another meaning is actually short, but we still consider in this chapter tall and dwarf. We do not use the word short. We always use it as a dwarf. Now, all these things when we write, we always represent the dominant trait by the capital letter and the recessive trait by the small letter. It need not be, we represent this by capital V and we represent this by small w. No, we do not do it in that manner. For example, now it is tall and dwarf. I write this as T and T. Right? Suppose if I am choosing about the color, let us say I am choosing yellow and green, or if I am choosing round and wrinkled. Now round is written as R, wrinkled is written as R. Right? So this is how it goes. For example, whichever is dominant, we take that alphabet. Now just see. Color, if I am choosing yellow and green, so this will be yellow and green. Right? So this is tall, this is dwarf. This is round, this is wrinkled. This is yellow and this is green. That means the dominant will always be in capital with the same thing. Recessive, we use the same letter in the smaller case. Yes? So these things will be using it. Now as we see, how did Mendel perform this experiment? Now what Mendel did? Mendel conducted several experiments he conducted several experiments on the pea plant by crossing these seeds. Now either he studied one character at a time or he chose two characters to study at a time. That means either first he chose the height to study about the height of the pea plant, or to study about the character he chose a height only. So he tried to cross pollinate them and studied only about the height. That means one character at a time he studied. Do I get the tall plant or a dwarf plant? Condition 1. Second condition, what he did was he chose two characters and studied at a time. What did he do? He chose the color and he chose the shape. That means seed color and seed shape. He chose two characters at a time to study. So whenever we choose only one character to study, that is called as a monohybrid cross. If we choose two characters at a time to study, that is called as a dihybrid cross. So we will be studying in detail about what is monohybrid cross and what is dihybrid cross, what is the progeny, that is what is the offspring in the next generation in our tomorrow's class. We have a particular method to represent this, which is called as a checkerboard method or a Punnett square method. So we will wind up in today's class by understanding what actually Mendel carried out in this experiment, what plant he chose, why he chose, and what are the 7 detectable characteristics or traits present in the pea plant. Yes, in tomorrow's class we will study about monohybrid and dihybrid. So in today's class, if you have any doubt, you can call on the same day of the video set. Thank you.